We all crave connection, crave purpose, and crave a sense of belonging in this world. And often we look for that connection in external validation, in achievements, in the perfect Instagram feed. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking those deep desires lies within? That key is emotional intelligence, or EI. It's the ability to understand and manage our own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around us. It's about vulnerability, about courage, about showing up authentically in the world, even when it's hard. This isn't about putting on a happy face or ignoring the hard stuff. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about leaning into our vulnerability, recognizing our imperfections, and understanding that those imperfections are what make us human. So if you're ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery, to unlock your own potential for connection, empathy, and wholehearted living, then stick around. Because today, we're diving deep into the world of emotional intelligence. Imagine for a moment that your emotions are like a foreign language. Emotional intelligence is like becoming fluent in that language, understanding not just the words, but the nuances, the cultural context, the unspoken messages behind them. It's about recognizing when anger is masking fear, when sadness is a sign of unmet needs, when joy is a celebration of connection. It's about understanding that our emotions, even the messy ones, are not our enemies, but rather messengers carrying valuable information. We often try to suppress our emotions, to push them down and pretend they don't exist. But just like ignoring a physical pain doesn't make it go away, ignoring our emotions only allows them to fester and grow stronger. Emotional intelligence gives us the tools to listen to these messages, to decipher their meaning, and to respond in a way that is both authentic and constructive. It's about recognizing that our emotions, even the messy ones, are not our enemies, but rather messengers carrying valuable information. Now let's break down this complex concept into its core components. Emotional intelligence can be understood through 5 main pillars: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness is the foundation, the ability to tune into our own emotions, to understand our triggers, our strengths, and our weaknesses. It's about being honest with ourselves, even when it's uncomfortable. Next comes self-regulation, the ability to manage our emotional responses in a healthy way. It's about pausing before reacting, choosing our words and actions with intention, and avoiding impulsive behaviors that might sabotage our goals. Think of it like this. We can't control the first thought that pops into our heads, but we can control whether we choose to dwell on it, whether we let it dictate our actions. That's the power of self-regulation. Motivation, the third pillar, is fueled by our inner drive, our passion, and our ability to stay optimistic even in the face of challenges. It's about connecting with our values and finding meaning in our work and our relationships. Then comes empathy, the ability to step into someone else's shoes, to understand their perspective, and to connect with their emotions on a human level. It's about recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles, and that a little kindness can go a long way. Finally, we have social skills, the ability to build and maintain healthy relationships, to communicate effectively, to influence, to collaborate, and to resolve conflicts constructively. This is where emotional intelligence truly comes to life in our interactions with others. Together, these 5 pillars form the foundation of emotional intelligence, allowing us to navigate the complexities of human connection with greater awareness, authenticity, and compassion. Some might dismiss emotional intelligence as touchy-feely fluff, but the truth is, it has a profound impact on every aspect of our lives. It's not just about being nice, it's about showing up as our best selves in all areas of our lives. Let's start with our personal well-being. Studies show that people with higher emotional intelligence tend to have better mental and physical health. They're better equipped to manage stress, cope with adversity, and build resilience in the face of challenges. Why is this? Because when we understand and manage our emotions, we're less likely to let stress control us. We're better able to identify healthy coping mechanisms, seek support when we need it, and bounce back from setbacks with greater ease. Emotional intelligence empowers us to take ownership of our well-being and create a life filled with purpose, connection, and joy. It's about recognizing that our emotions, even the messy ones, are not our enemies, but rather messengers carrying valuable information. Now, let's talk about relationships. Emotional intelligence is the secret sauce of healthy, fulfilling connections. It allows us to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts constructively, and build trust and intimacy with the people who matter most. When we approach our relationships with empathy and understanding, we create a safe space for vulnerability, for authenticity, and for deeper connection. We're able to see beyond our own perspectives and appreciate the experiences and feelings of others. This doesn't mean avoiding conflict altogether. In fact, disagreements are inevitable in any relationship. But emotional intelligence gives us the tools to navigate those disagreements with grace, to listen with an open heart, and to find solutions that work for everyone involved. It's about recognizing that our emotions, even the messy ones, are not our enemies, but rather messengers carrying valuable information. It's about being brave enough to be vulnerable, to admit when we're wrong, and to apologize sincerely when we've hurt someone we care about. We've talked about what emotional intelligence is and why it matters. But what gets in the way? Why do some people have such a hard time connecting with their own emotions and the emotions of others? Well, it's rarely a simple answer. Just like with vulnerability, sometimes our struggles with emotional intelligence come from a place of disconnection. Think about it. If we've experienced trauma, neglect, or were raised in an environment where vulnerability was seen as weakness, we might learn to armor up. We might suppress our emotions, shut down, or disconnect from ourselves and others as a way to protect ourselves from getting hurt. This disconnection can have a ripple effect throughout our lives, making it harder to develop the self-awareness, empathy, and social skills that are crucial for emotional intelligence. It's like trying to navigate a complex emotional landscape without a compass or a map. But here's the good news. Even if we've struggled with emotional intelligence in the past, it's never too late to learn new ways of being. It takes courage, compassion, and a willingness to do the hard work of unpacking those old patterns and beliefs. We don't live in a vacuum. Our families, communities, and the broader culture we live in all shape our understanding of emotions and how we're supposed to express them. Some cultures value stoicism and see emotional expression as a sign of weakness, particularly for men. Imagine growing up in a family or community where it wasn't okay to cry, express sadness, or talk openly about your feelings. You might learn to suppress those emotions, to push them down and ignore them. And while this might seem like strength on the surface, it can actually lead to a disconnect from our authentic selves. When we're not allowed to experience and express our full range of emotions, it becomes difficult to develop emotional intelligence. We might struggle to understand our own emotions, let alone the emotions of others. We might misinterpret situations, react impulsively, or have trouble building healthy, authentic relationships. But by challenging these cultural norms and creating safe spaces for emotional expression, we can begin to dismantle these barriers and cultivate greater emotional intelligence in ourselves and the next generation. It's important to acknowledge that sometimes, difficulties with emotional intelligence can be linked to underlying mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, or autism spectrum disorder. These conditions can affect our ability to regulate our emotions, read social cues, or empathize with others. And then there are personality traits. Some people are naturally more introverted or extroverted, more sensitive or thick-skinned. These traits aren't inherently good or bad, but they can influence how we approach and understand emotions. For example, someone who is highly sensitive might be more easily overwhelmed by strong emotions, while someone who is more analytical might struggle to connect with their feelings on a deeper level. The key is to understand ourselves, our strengths and challenges, so we can develop strategies that work for us. If we're struggling, seeking professional support from a therapist or counselor can provide valuable tools and insights to help us navigate these complexities. Developing emotional intelligence is a journey, not a destination. It's about cultivating self-awareness, learning to regulate our emotions, and strengthening our empathy muscles. And it all starts with paying attention to ourselves and the world around us. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing our attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without getting swept away by them. Think of it like building a muscle. The more we practice mindfulness, the better we become at observing our emotions without letting them control us. There are many ways to practice mindfulness. Meditation is a great place to start, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. You can also bring mindfulness into everyday activities like eating, walking, or even washing the dishes. The key is to slow down, pay attention, and be fully present in the moment. As we become more mindful, we start to notice patterns in our emotional landscape. We might realize that certain situations trigger specific emotions, or that we have a tendency to react in certain ways when we're stressed or overwhelmed. This self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. One of the bravest things we can do is ask for feedback, especially when it comes to our emotional intelligence. It can be uncomfortable to hear that we might not be coming across the way we intend, or that our actions are impacting others in ways we don't realize. But here's the thing. Feedback is a gift. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. It allows us to see ourselves more clearly, to understand how our behaviors affect others, and to make adjustments that can strengthen our relationships. Of course, receiving feedback, especially critical feedback, can be tough. It's easy to get defensive, to make excuses, or to dismiss what we're hearing. But if we can approach feedback with an open mind and a willingness to learn, it can be incredibly valuable. Remember, feedback is not about being perfect, it's about being better. It's about showing up with curiosity and a desire to understand. And it's about recognizing that we all have blind spots, and we need others to help us see them. Empathy is at the heart of emotional intelligence. It's the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, to step into their shoes and see the world from their perspective. And it's a skill that can be learned and strengthened with practice. One way to cultivate empathy is to simply listen, really listen, to others. Put down your phone, silence your inner critic, and give the person in front of you your full attention. Ask clarifying questions. Reflect back what you hear and try to understand their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Another important aspect of emotional intelligence is learning to manage stress. When we're stressed, our ability to think clearly, make sound decisions, and empathize with others goes out the window. That's why it's crucial to develop healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with stress. This might involve exercise, spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in creative pursuits. It might also mean setting boundaries, saying no to commitments that drain our energy, and prioritizing self-care. In conclusion, emotional intelligence is a crucial skill that affects every part of your life, from your health and relationships to your career and overall well-being. The good news is that it's not something you're born with, and it's never too late to improve. By working on developing self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills, you can unlock a powerful tool for navigating life's challenges and building stronger connections with those around you. Remember, it's about recognizing that we're all works in progress, and we all have the capacity for growth. Remember, emotional intelligence is a journey, not a destination. Keep practicing and learning, and over time, you'll see how much more fulfilling and rewarding your relationships, career, and life can be. Thanks for watching.